Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video I'm going to talk about what I call the trio set, which encompasses 3 rings, and each ring has a specific purpose. And another way we could identify them as is journey rings or ascension rings, because we know that ascension is a journey. It's essentially a rediscovery of self. We are deemed embodying a human experience, but the origins of ourself go far beyond being a human. And for us to not only understand that we don't lack, that was part of the conditioning, the programming that we were given while being here as a human, we actually have a reservoir of energy, which we call infinite consciousness. We are infinite. We are immortal. And the most common complaint that we hear in regards to health at a human level is a lack of energy. So you can see where there's a problem, right? A lack of energy through the embodiment of the human, which the more we embody ourselves as the human and identify as the human, part of a collective, we don't give ourselves an opportunity to realize our full potential that is beyond being a human. So we suffer in regards to our connection to self, so identity, and that connection to that reservoir of infinite consciousness, which needs infinite energy. So a lack of identity could be the biggest cause to why so many people have a lack of energy or fatigue problems here as the human. But secondly, also knowing how we use that energy, not just as an observer, a participant, or just experiencing. We're creating reality. So these rings, each ring has a particular purpose in that journey or path in regards to rediscovering self, which Ascension is. So we've got the trio set in 3 different sizes now. We've just recently brought a new set out, which is the largest set. We also make a pendant that uses the trio set as well. I'm going to show you those, all the different varieties. And then I'm going to give you an example of feedback in regards to the rings. And I'll explain for what size set of the rings that generally people buy them for, and what you can use them with. So obviously the first, which is the smallest, is an Ascension Gateway Pendant, okay, which includes the 3 trio rings. And for anybody that doesn't know about tensor rings or tensor technology, once the wire has been twisted, we cut it to a specific measurement, which we call a cubit. Okay, and so these 3 rings are made out of 3 different qubits. Each ring's a different qubit, and each qubit allows a specific or spectrum of energies to be anchored here in this reality. And these energies might exist, the origin of these energies exists outside this reality. So you can understand how they are connected with this journey of ascension, rediscovering self, which goes beyond the human. For us to go beyond the human, we kind of have to go beyond just this reality, this universe, to figure things out. And luckily for me, being a quantum healer, a quantum coach, an intuitive that's dowsing and has that open connection all the time to ask the big questions and get those big answers to go along with those questions. I was guided with specific qubit measurements to fulfill that purpose, to not only help myself but help my clients in that rediscovery of self, which we call ascension. So you can wear one as a pendant. Now the cool thing about wearing as a pendant is obviously you can wear it every hour of the day. You can sleep with it. the longer you have that within your field, it's going to be incorporate part of your field. Okay, and every aspect of self on every level within this reality and then also on a multiverse level, the doorway is at the heart, which we call the sacred heart. So when you're wearing this pendant, that is putting all the odds in your favor to keep this door open and allowing you to connect on a multitude of levels of self. And I'm going to show you specifically with the next particular item of the trio set. So the next size up is we've got this one here, which is the personal trio set. So the 3 rings again. And again, bring through the same energies. It doesn't matter about the size. It's nothing about that. It's just more surface area, because a ring creates a column of light. So it's just creating a column of light. Okay? But when you have that column of light within your field, then you can see how it gets immersed all throughout your auric field in your body, right? And again, this is not bringing things through something that's external to you. The person that has these rings on their person, it will connect to their higher aspects of self. That I'm not giving these rings to someone for them to connect to my higher aspects. It's going to be specific to that particular person. So, it's the same product, bring through the same energies. Again, it's just convenience, right? If it's easier just to wear it and forget it, we'll get the pendant version. For this version, this is great for like placing on your bottled water. For example, my bottled water, and you just place it over like that. You can obviously still do personal work on yourself with these. Another great way of using the activation, which is the outside, the biggest ring, you can place it if you've got a front pocket on your shirt and you place it in that pocket, that will sit right over your heart space, and that's great for people that have arrhythmia issues or high blood pressure problems, heart problems. Because again, the heart, the physical heart, or deemed physical heart, suffers because it's just a expression of that sacred heart, that doorway that we need open. And when that doorway is not open, then what we deem as the physical heart will suffer, and you get all sorts of issues like arrhythmias, high blood pressure problems, and all issues with the cardiovascular system of the body. So with all the rings, the outer ring is the activation. Okay, so that's the one we could call that the heart activation. It gets you to the door. And as I say, the door there is for the heart. Then for all the sets except for this one, the middle ring is what we call the Ascension Qubit. Okay, now that takes you to the other end of that pathway. So this is one end of a pathway. The other end of the pathway is back to source, the origin of your energy, which this is what this qubit measure allows. Okay. Now, the things about the qubit measures we use here at Truly Holistic is they bring through spectrum of frequencies, okay? As the purpose to rediscover self, ascension, is to go beyond this reality, okay, which we can call beyond this universe, and connect to our multi-dimensional aspect of self, which means multi-reality and multiverse. So, many universes where a variant of you exists within because you share the same energy signature. Quantum physics calls that quantum entanglement, that quick connection. Okay, so, but that source, that origin of your energy gets shared amongst those different realities, which all hold a spectrum of frequencies. Okay, so as I say, that outer ring is the activation, and see it as this way. That holds all these spectrums that holds the whole spectrum of frequencies that exists within this reality. Okay, this universe. When you go to the middle ring, which is the Ascension Qubit, it holds all the spectrums of the frequencies that exist on all realities. Okay. Now that Ascension Qubit, why I say it's different on this one, is the Ascension Qubit, which is the middle ring for all the sets except for this one, is the little ring, is the smallest ring on that set. Okay. Now the next one we go into, which is the smallest one out of the 3 for all the sets except for the pendant, is the gateway qubit. Now, the gateway qubit is that pathway between this doorway and all the way back to source. Okay, so this kind of is that middle ground that connects to all the branches of that lead to all the different realities where there's a version of variant of you. So I like to use the analogy of a tree, right? So the expression of the tree, so the foliage of the tree, or the leaves and flower, for this reality is the activation qubit. Okay. The gateway qubit, which is the smallest ring, is the trunk of the tree, okay, which connects to all the branches that lead to all these different realities, including our own here. And then the middle ring, the ascension, is the roots of the tree. Okay? So that is a smaller set of rings, and again, you know, they do very well. We use this for also the I Am Everything pyramid set, the small I Am Everything pyramid set, so they work very well. As I say, it's not about size, it's just about the facilitation of the energy, and the qubit measures are all the same, so they facilitate the same energies, okay? So the next setup, so that was the personal. Now this is the home set. Okay, so you can see it's a bit bigger. And again, it's the same. Activation on the outside, we've got the ascension, and then we've got the gateway in the middle. And again, they work together. They have a specific pathway. You need to get to the door, right? You need the door to be open to take that journey. Okay, and then you connect with the gateway qubit, which is taking you through the trunk of the tree, which connects you to all the multidimensional aspects of you, all the realities that branch off that, and then obviously leads you all the way to the other end of that, which is source, which is the roots, the origin of your energy. Okay, so again, obviously bigger surface area. So again, with this, you could be using this on your food, place your plate of food on it. The thing here is every aspect of this reality is here an expression of consciousness. So water, for example, it wants to connect to its higher aspects of itself too. So the same principles apply. So when you're using the small set here and you're using it on you, you're connecting to every higher aspect of you. When you put it on the water, you're connecting the water, which is expressing itself in this reality as what we see it as and what we experience it as, but it's got higher aspects of itself too, and you're connecting it to its higher aspects of itself, again using these tensor rings as an anchor to bring that connection in. So which is really cool. You're becoming more multidimensional, and you're drinking water, eating food that is feeding that multidimensional aspect of you. Okay, so obviously all the minerals are in the water as well. Let's say there was magnesium in here. You're not only getting the best quality of magnesium in this reality, you're getting a magnesium that's a little bit different from different realities. So you're getting more of a greater aspect of that mineral magnesium and all the others too. Obviously with this set is wonderful. You can do on the body as well. Wonderful thing for the activation qubit, as I say, that the biggest ring is to get that door open. So for working on yourself or clients, you can place that over that heart space, okay, and that's going to allow the crust to be removed and allow that door to be open. Okay, especially if you're feeling that your awareness is in the head and the mind, you're being very analytical and you're being very complex, which leads to stress. And you want that awareness to come back into here to bring everything back to the now, back to the present time, and take you through and keep that door open to connect you to consciousness. Then you'll lie down on your bed or whatever, or get your client to lie down, and you place that over that sacred heart space, Now the middle ring, the Ascension Qubit, then you want to place that over the person's, what people deem as the third eye. I call that the being eye, because that's the state of being that we want to create. Sometimes we get into the state of doing, which we get into the head, into the mind, and we get too complex by kind of following just the duality eyes, right? 1, 2, and then we've got the singularity eye. So I always say, that is you're channeling your energy through here, and then that's going to be your navigator. So while you've got the big ring there, you've got the middle-sized ring placed over that area there while you're lying down. And that's a really good way to do it. Now, there's a new set that we've created, which we call the Practitioner size rings, which is wonderful, and that's these beauties. So you can see again the size difference there. And obviously when we go up, the personal set is made with a 12 gauge wire, the home set is made with a 10 gauge wire, and these made with an 8 gauge wire, so a bit more heavy duty. And again, these are wonderful to work on clients as well, so hence Practitioner set. You know, a lot of these rings actually can go over the head. And these rings are wonderful because, as I say, when you use these rings on water, you're connecting to that water to its multidimensional aspect of itself. Let's take, for example, medications or supplements. And let's say you've got a whole array and you want to connect them to it, their highest aspects of themselves. So especially with medications, they don't have this hidden agenda to cause all this harm to you and side effects to you. So you want to connect it to a higher aspect of itself, so it drops all agendas to affect you in a negative way. And also it's going to improve the efficiency of the supplement that you take as well. So obviously you could use the home set, you know, but if you've got an array of supplements, right, and people that really are empowered with their own health and they want to like be responsible for their own health, they'll have an array of supplements, but for also people that are on medications too. So you can. This is wonderful. Just place that on a bench and place all your supplements and your medications. Just leave them in there until every time you need to use them. That's a great way of using the rings as well. And again, using them on the body, just like I did with the personal set, you can also use that with the Practitioner set. So these are wonderful products. Now what I'm going to do is just we'll finalize this video. Tell you a little bit of story about these rings. My son, he's 10 years old, and probably about a year ago now, I'd say. Or actually going back further than that, I used to buy locally sourced spring water. So a local company used to pick up the bottles, they go and fill them, and then drop them off. And then when I need them refilled, they can pick them up. Wonderful service. Fantastic water too. And I know a lot about spring water, and it's magical. You know, unbelievable spring water, what it can do. But when I got really stuck deep and was learning about tensor technology, especially with these qubit measures and what they can do, they just take it to a completely another level. And again, so these qubit measures won't be found anywhere else. They were guided to me because my purpose of understanding reality and the need for everyone to ascend, you know, including myself. And I thought, well, to be a bit more sustainable, and this is the wonderful thing about these rings, you can create things out of nothing. How sustainable is that, right? Is that, okay, instead of buying spring water, let's just take ordinary water, tap water, or water that's got a, you know, people might have a filter on it for tap water, and use that water, and let's use the rings to get it to a level of spring water, or maybe even further than that. So my son was drinking the spring water I was collecting, and he loved it. He knows the massive difference with the spring water. He always, whenever he wanted water, he would always go, oh, can I have that spring water? Now, obviously, when I stopped that spring water and sourcing that spring water, and I was just using the rings, I explained to him that we weren't getting the water anymore. I was using these rings for the water. And since then, he's continued to call it spring water because he can feel it. He's quite intuitively connected when he's drinking the water, and he can notice the texture of the water that's different than just water that's not treated with the tensor rings. So he can notice a texture difference. He can notice a taste difference. He knows a difference in hydration. So he continues to call it spring water. And, you know, this is, you know, a 9-year-old at this time, right? And when he came around with a friend of his, which also another 9-year-old, I was going to do the ultimate test. You know, it's a big test to do something like this to 9-year-olds, right, and get validation from them. So what I did with my son, but more importantly with his friend, I got a cup of water, which was just, again, out of the tap, and I got a cup of water that was originally the same water, tap water, but had been within the rings, the tensor rings. And I got him to try it, the friend, And immediately he knew he noticed a difference with the texture, with the taste, and also how hydrating it was. And this is a 9-year-old. Okay, so, it's amazing what you can do with these rings, and that's with water. And as I mentioned, I explained about the water, right? Water, like ourselves, it's consciousness. We want to connect it to a higher aspect of itself, that not only the highest aspect of what it can be here in this reality, but in a multitude of realities. And that same effect can be applied to you, applied to your food, applied to your supplements, applied to your medications, and totally everything. Because everything is here because it's an expression or a projection of an intelligence, of consciousness. Sometimes it's not the consciousness, sometimes it's the mind, and that's where you'll feel it, you'll notice it. Well, if you're having a lot of grief, a lot of problems, a lot of stress, a lot of conflict within because of something, it's usually because it's a mind creation, okay, which is an intelligence we don't recommend. We want more consciousness creations, and these tensor rings and tensor products are wonderful for assisting you with that, like training wheels, until you can do it yourself. Okay? So, if anybody has any questions about the trio set or any tensor technology, please comment below. Please like the video. Please share this video. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm also on Instagram, so go and check me out there. I'm truly_holistic. And also check me out on my Facebook page, which is trulyholistic.net. Till next time, catch you later.